So hey, welcome back to the vlog. Thanks for checking in again. That footage was actually shot a couple of days ago when we got another couple inches of snow. It's a gorgeous day today out. Beautiful. It's just too bad that it's still winter. So yeah, I just wanted to put together a quick vlog for this week. But before I get to that, and the huge mistake that I made last week, there's something that I need to take care of first. Now it's time to get serious, because if it's not a hat, it's time for a haircut. That's better. It's been a pretty productive week overall, keeping to the schedule for the most part. Vlog is still kind of floating around. It really all depends on how much time I have to devote to it. Let's see, today's Groundhog Day, Tuesday, and apparently we're going to get a short winter. We'll see if that actually happens. February, even though it's the shortest month, normally feels like the longest month because that's when we get hit with loads of snow, bad weather, freezing cold temperatures. You just end up going stir crazy because it's too rotten outside to actually want to. Summer can't come soon enough. But yeah, the scheduling has been going well. There's still a lot of craziness and ridiculousness that's going on YouTube. I've opted overall just to not get dragged into it and continue to use YouTube as a video sharing platform. And the second thing that I've decided to do, which was something that I've been thinking about a while ago anyways, was to expand my use of file sharing platforms to other sites. So for instance, Dailymotion, I think there's also Vessel. There are a few other video sharing platforms. I think Flickr also allows you to share video. And so I'm just going to continue to expand where I place my video content now and not rely so much on just putting it on YouTube. The content on YouTube will stay the same and expand accordingly. I mean, there are still a couple of other chapters in what I'm doing that I want to play around with and pursue. As far as the reaction videos, I'm really not exactly sure what to do with that at this point, because as I keep on harping on, I have permission to use the content. I have consent from the studios to use the content, but the stuff is getting flagged. So I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to deal with that. It may just be a case of finding sponsors for that series and then not monetizing it on the video sharing platforms that I use, including YouTube, and go with it from there. So it'll be this episode of Double Take is brought to you by, and name a sponsor, whatever that sponsor might be. It'd be cool if it was a t-shirt sponsor, because that would kind of fit in with what I do with that series, but that remains to be seen. In the meantime, I'm setting up more accounts with different video sharing platforms, looking into what I can put on there. With the highlights video, I've already started with last week's video, putting them on Dailymotion. I have an account with them now. But as far as the video sharing stuff goes, I'm just going to continue to look at other options while maintaining my YouTube account for as long as it exists. At the moment, the way things are going with YouTube, I'm not really too sure if it's going to be around within the next 5 to 10 years. I don't really expect it to be. Not as it is now, and definitely not as it has been in the past. I think that YouTube is probably going to start collapsing on itself, and I wouldn't be surprised if within the next couple of years everybody has to pay subscription in order to access content. But we'll see how it goes. I'm really not too concerned about it. I'm just kind of disappointed. But as with most good things, somebody usually figures out how to screw it up soon enough. And speaking of screw-ups, I actually made a huge mistake in my last highlights video. I don't know if any of you watched that. I know it's a regional series that I put together about a handful of movies that are playing here in Ottawa. But if by chance you did check it out, you may have noticed that I forgot to turn on the rope light that runs up. Is it this? No, yeah, it's this side of that video. I forgot to turn it on, and I didn't notice, of course, until the next day when I had time to actually do the editing on it. And I didn't have time to reshoot it. But yeah, the rope light was off for the entirety of the shooting for that video. Fortunately, the setup for that series is pretty well standardized now. And it's the camera is stationary. I don't move around too much, and it's a static background. So what I was actually able to do is just take a screenshot of the previous week's video and use that as a guide in Photoshop and create a second layer with a simple mask on it, and then bring that file back into Premiere Pro, because it's so easy. And that's one of the things that I like about Adobe, is that you can migrate your files back and forth between the different software. And then in Premiere Pro, I was able to take the mask that I had created and use it as what's called a tracking matte, which is basically, it works pretty much the same way as a mask does in Photoshop, along with the portion of the static background that had the rope lights on. And I just combined that with the existing video for last week's series or episode, and it worked perfectly. I don't think it was even noticeable at all, except that when the video starts, the rope light is off, and then once I move my hand out of the way, the lights go on. And then at the end of the video, even though there's a bunch of graphics and stuff in the way, you can probably see that the lights go off before I move my hand into that area. It was a really fortunate troubleshooting fix that I was able to slap together at the last minute, because I really did not have any time to reshoot. And I probably would have been totally screwed and had to start from scratch and reshoot the entire thing, which, if you don't actually make any videos on a regular basis, or it just comes naturally to you, then for somebody like me to shoot that video, and remember, the video is about 3 to 3.5 minutes long, that video normally takes me about an hour to shoot. I take breaks. I drink lots of coffee. I chew lots of gum. I try to avoid getting too much dry mouth, so that I'm not stumbling over my words. But yeah, that was a huge mistake on my part, and it was so stupid, but I just did not notice it. Even when I was looking at myself in the viewfinder, which I have facing me here on the camera, I still did not notice it at all. So yeah, thanks again for checking out this episode, and I hope you have a great week. What else is going? Oh, crap, I gotta go get that salt before the freezing rain starts. And yeah, cheers.